My organization is based in Washington. I'm a resident of the state of New York. I do not own or operate rental property. I have no financial interests here. Obviously, eviction is a painful and costly experience. We should try to limit it. But in the goal of helping some, we have to be careful not to unduly distort the housing markets in a way that may harm many people. So let me call attention to some specific aspects of the bill that I don't think have been discussed. The proposed bill, central to its language, is the idea that eviction for non-payment should not be permitted when a rent increase is unreasonable, and it defines it. Rent increase is presumed to be unreasonable and therefore not a basis for eviction if it exceeds either 3% of the previous rental amount or 1.5% of the consumer price index, whichever is higher. I don't need to remind the members of this committee that inflation today has moved sharply upwards and is expected to move further upwards for the foreseeable future. A key metric in this bill would, in other words, inevitably be a moving target. Indeed, the annualized US inflation rate was 4.9% this past August, but by August, when the bill would have set the reasonableness, but it rose to 6.8% for November. So what is viewed as unreasonable in one snapshot may well be reasonable, but in the next, as displayed by inflation rates over the year, it could be changed. Keep in mind, inflation can hit residential property owners in very specific ways. They're not in a position to decline to pay increased heating bills or other costs, nor for that matter, the grocery bills for their families. Eviction moratoria have protected tenants, but they've also had effects on property owners who may not have a financial cushion and who may not actually, believe it or not, rush to evict people. An Urban Institute report earlier this year surveyed landlords and tenants. They found that the COVID-19 crisis and statewide eviction moratoria were disproportionately affecting Black and Hispanic rental property owners who were struggling to pay their mortgages. At the same time, they did not rush to evict. 48% of Hispanic and 42% of Black rental property owners offered their tenants rent payment plans. Remember, this state is losing population. New York City, based on postal address changes, is losing 86,000 residents. Landlords cannot be certain of finding replacement tenants. They fear an interruption of their income stream. Finally, we should not be confused about the fact that because of the 3% rule, this is extending rent regulation statewide in effect. In terms of the distortions, we've heard about that this morning in the hearing previously, the distortions that rent regulation happens. I'll just give you one example. Rent regulated tenants, 23% of them stay in their units, according to the Furman Center, 20 years or more. Non-regulated tenants, only 7% stay in their units 20 years or more. We have a situation in New York City where it's like musical chairs. People stay in those chairs, then the music stops. Lots of those chairs are occupied for a very long period of time. They're not available for newcomers, for all the people who are doubled up. We've distorted the market. This will distort it further. The kind of painful stories that we hear today will be extended, even though that's not the intent of the legislators. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Hussock. Second,